Gino Jennings is known for mischief. His strict orthodox convictions, such as rejecting the Trinity and a dress requirement, have caused him to clash with other Christian groups and detractors for years. His opposition to women in the church is intense. His views have angered many and gotten him banned from a country. His family has confirmed what everyone expected. Let's briefly review Gino Jennings' career before getting into those details. Gino Jennings wasn't always fearless and provocative. Like many kids his age, he read the Bible to his family during services. Jennings began teaching at 13. Growing up, Gino Jennings heard a lot about religion. Prayer, Bible study, and church attendance were routine for him because he was reared Christian. Bishop Ernest Jennings, his father, shaped him. This person is a mentor, role model, and spiritual leader. It wasn't surprising that young Gino gravitated toward the pulpit. He preached as an adolescent. He preached with passion and assurance, distinguishing himself from his peers. Jennings did something big at 21. In 1984, he founded the First Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ in his Philadelphia basement with his family. Despite its poor beginnings, Jennings' powerful messages about holiness, living cheaply, and obeying the Bible helped the church develop swiftly. His simplistic style caught on, and what started in a basement became a U.S. and international trend. Jennings wanted to leave. He hoped his church would be popular. As his preaching spread, he opened branches in New York and Washington, D.C. His message traveled worldwide, and churches sprouted up in Jamaica, the UK, Canada, and even Africa. Jennings reached more people through his TV and radio speeches. Jennings' ascension has been problematic. He strongly opposed divorce, homosexuality, and women leading the church, which many people disagree with. He's blunt when he thinks most Christians are abandoning divine truth. Jennings believes many churches have adapted their principles to modern life, but he prefers a classic, consistent Bible reading. Gino Jennings' intense Bible reading has been praised and criticized. His strong gender and moral beliefs are considered outdated and intolerant by many. Jennings, meanwhile, believes his lessons are from the Bible alone. He feels obligated to tell the truth, even if it's unpopular or hard to believe. In addition to gender roles, Jennings opposes the prosperity gospel, which claims God rewards allegiance with wealth, success, and good health. This doctrine is common among various Christian sects. It is used to persuade individuals to contribute a lot to the church in exchange for divine blessings. Jennings rejects this approach because it alters the gospel. His sermons regularly attack prosperity preachers for exploiting their followers and teaching a superficial Christianity that prioritizes worldly success above spiritual growth. Christian living is about giving up goods, being humble, and serving God, according to Jennings. His criticism of the prosperity gospel applies to those who believe money religion is not following Jesus' lessons. However, this puts him at conflict with some of our most influential Christian leaders. Jennings has been criticized before, especially for his views on humility. Women shouldn't wear cosmetics, jewelry, or have haircuts, he says. His proof is 1 Timothy 2:9, which encourages humility and not wearing flashy clothes. This kept them holy and separate from worldly greed. His position has angered many, especially in a nation that cherishes free expression and personal freedom. Many believe his lessons are sexist and restricting since they claim women shouldn't choose how they look and feel. Jennings remains steadfast despite this criticism. He stated that his opinions are biblical and unaffected by society or circumstances. Jennings has fought other Christian leaders over similar topics in public. Jennings has responded to preachers who say he is rigorous and rule-based by stating they are teaching a watered-down Christianity. These arguments make him contentious among Christians. He doesn't give in, thus his tone shows who supports him. Jennings keeps faithful to his message despite continual criticism because he sees himself as a protector of authentic Christian doctrine at a time when values are confused. Leading a large religious community is stressful, and Jennings has had to combine his work with his fame. Most people don't know much about his personal life, yet leaders like him often face tragedies and hardships. As a clergyman who has dedicated his life to his faith, Jennings may use his spirituality to cope with loss. However, he rarely discusses the emotional toll of juggling ministry and personal life. Jennings, like everyone else, has experienced sadness and grief that tested his faith and determination. Jennings often advises Christians to rely even more on their faith and trust that God has a plan when they are suffering. Since Jennings always encourages his followers to see hardship as part of God's plan for spiritual progress, this may alter how he handles loss. He demonstrates his leadership strength by teaching these things. Gino Jennings' ministry is noted for his steadfast Bible interpretation and provocative views. Because of this, he has many loyal followers and outspoken enemies. He struggles with the media misrepresenting and misinterpreting his comments. Jennings wants to preach the Bible's unmodified truth. In the eyes of non-ministers, his cutting style and uncompromising position on social and theological matters have damaged his reputation. Jennings has been portrayed negatively by several news outlets. Due to his frank criticism of social conventions and Orthodox Christianity, his detractors find it easier to attack him. The media focus on his inflammatory words, sometimes out of context, making it impossible to understand his theological points. This portrayal of Jennings has damaged his reputation, especially among those who first hear him on the news, rather than his sermons. Because of this, many consider him radical or extreme, instead of as a clergyman who believes God's message. The media's lies have bothered Jennings and others. Now that social approval and political correctness are so crucial in public life, many spiritual leaders who defy the norm confront the same issues. Today's views on sexuality, gender roles, and modesty differ from Jennings. Because of this, his opponents label his lectures old-fashioned, gruff, or unpleasant. Gino Jennings favors holiness to Christianity, stating that many Christians don't follow the Bible. His emphasis on holiness makes it seem like only his followers are devout, which many find distressing. Jennings' non-Trinitarian views of one God are unpopular with most Christians. Jennings' uncompromising honesty distinguishes his ministry even though the media and people dislike it. Jennings won't compromise his message or strategy to win over others. He's willing to face controversy because he values his message over making friends with his critics. It shows how passionately Jennings believes his pastorate is to share God's truth even if it's unpopular. Despite criticism, he stands firm. Gino Jennings' 2018 discussion of Mr. Vegas garnered notice in Jamaica. Because Jennings' views on Christian women's dress and makeup were controversial, many were excited for the occasion. Mr. Vegas, who disagreed with Jennings' rigorous interpretation, asked for a public discussion, making it enormous news. You could feel the tension during the argument. Mr. Vegas insisted on playing Jennings' earlier statements, which caused the commotion. Jennings wouldn't play the recording, which heated things up. The situation deteriorated swiftly. After a disagreement with the church's audiovisual team and certain associate preachers, security had to remove Mr. Vegas from the auditorium. The YouTube stream debate garnered attention in Jamaica and worldwide. Events went viral on the island. 2 ministers who had agreed to discuss Jennings withdrew, probably due to the heated dispute. This event showed that Jennings' ministry divides people and that he struggles to express his beliefs publicly. Another major issue for Jennings is his fight with T.D. Jakes. Gino Jennings, TDG Jakes' theologies and ministry styles have caused much conflict, as they do in the Christian society. Same-sex marriage is one of their primary disagreements. Jennings is recognized for his Christian values. He opposed same-sex marriage because he believes it violates the Bible. Jakes, meanwhile, is more open-minded, which Jennings believes contradicts Christian values. Jakes is too lenient on LGBTQ issues, according to Jennings, which is against the Bible. Their differences over traditionalism vs. inclusivity are another key issue, and address modern issues like racial harmony and social justice, unlike Jennings' theological purity. Jennings is vocal about modesty and gender roles, and he dislikes how Jake sacrifices biblical truth for modern societal expectations. In response to public arguments, Jennings has invited Jakes to conversations, accusing him of deceiving his church. Jennings has challenged Jakes to explain his theology in sermons. Since those conversations haven't materialized, each side's religious media following are fueling the war of words. The media and public viewed this fight differently, demonstrating their pastoral perspectives. People call Jennings a firebrand because he's combative and won't back down. Jakes, however, is friendly and accessible, wanting to reach more people. This divides their followers and reveals a larger gap in modern Christianity over how to read and apply the Bible. Beyond his TD, battle. Like his Steve Harvey bout. Gino Jennings and Steve Harvey's divorce and remarriage battle garnered media and public attention. Jennings' rigorous interpretation of the Bible's marriage principles causes most of his disputes. If you remarry while your first spouse is alive, he says infidelity is wrong. His Bible-following passion is evident. Jennings' lessons center on this principle, which sparks discussion when applied in real life. However, Steve Harvey, a comedian and TV personality who divorced and remarried, was angered by Jennings' inflexible approach. Harvey felt Jennings was addressing him, which he thought was too severe, and ignored today's delicate relationships. Harvey said Jennings' theories didn't account for the intricacies and challenges many people confront with marriage problems throughout their chats. Harvey declined to talk to Jennings about the issue, worsening their public dispute. Many observed their clashes online, including their passionate arguments showing their differing opinions. This dispute showed the contrast between traditional religions and society's conception of marriage, and it sparked controversy among their adherents, with both sides backing their leaders. This battle highlighted Christian cultural and religious debates regarding divorce and remarriage and shaped public opinion. Harvey approached relationships more personally and practically, while Jennings believed the Bible was the only truth. Religious leaders struggle to solve complex real-world issues in a rapidly changing culture. Gino Jennings' contentious beliefs will eventually lead to more than criticism. He failed to enter Australia in 2019 after criticizing the LGBTQ community. The Australian government called Jennings' Bible-centric lecture hate speech and an attempt to create a brawl. He chose to oppose homosexuality and same-sex marriage, which he frequently discusses in his lectures. The prohibition sparked debate regarding religious and speech freedom, as expected. Jennings' supporters stated he was following his religious beliefs and should be permitted to say so under free speech. His provocative lessons were based on how he read the Bible, they said. Jennings' critics stated her teachings were destructive and discriminatory and led to a society that didn't welcome LGBTQ people. This fight illustrated how religious views and modern societal conventions, including LGBTQ rights, still clash. This episode also reflects societal debates over free speech's limitations and responsibility. The Australian government's actions indicated more awareness of hate speech, especially in difficult areas. Jennings' ban dispute highlights how difficult it is for religious people to practice their faith in a mixed culture. In light of these occurrences, Jennings' case raises crucial considerations regarding how to combine faith and rights in diverse settings. Today, it's easy to overlook how difficult discussing faith, identity, and societal ideas is. Gino Jennings has endured trauma, abuse, and falsehoods. His morality and religious values have helped him flourish as a leader. His deep belief in Bible truth has caused him problems, but it has helped his church flourish in the U.S. and beyond. His church community still values him, and his global effect reflects his dedication and spiritual strength. Jennings' reputation as a fervent preacher of the real faith endures despite his troubles. His unshakable faith and desire to spreading holiness have solidified his status in the religious world and extended beyond his flock. Jennings' message is strong despite most people disagreeing with his rigid readings. His ministry has been driven by purpose for decades.